Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Right.
Oh, this is my bit, isn't it?
Yeah, this is your bit.
I mean, it can be anyone's bit, but you're the one that does it most.
I seem to have done it every time up to now.
Yeah.
Well.
I mean, I tried doing it last time. You told me I was doing it wrong. So.
Yeah, that's because you didn't do it. You just launched straight into it. There was no friendly introduction for our loyal listeners to appreciate.
I was going for a different tactic.
I didn't
anyway,
like
do
it.
the introduction.
Okay.
Get on with it.
Hello, aforementioned loyal visitors, and welcome to new and improved high-definition audio podcast.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
For one person.
But only from me. This is, as you probably know, given as you clicked on it, the One Click Pod Crap, and today we're chatting shit about something I don't actually know. These two stayed up until about, 2 o'clock in the morning a couple of nights ago, doing some sort of ridiculous deep
Did a little
dive
science fair project.
into something that no one in their right mind should realistically give a fuck about, but we're going to talk about it anyway, so get cracking.
So, what we... how do we go about doing this? First of all, we're thinking this might kick off a mini-series of completely irrelevant deep dives that people might enjoy listening to.
Yeah.
This first one is actually one that's been bothering us for quite a while. It relates to the miniature wheels and miniature bogies on some Intamin roller coasters on the Zero cars.
God.
We've actually worked out why they're there.
Yes, we have.
Okay, is it the reason I think it is?
And what's the reason you think it is?
Less load on the Zero car.
No.
Use bigger wheel.
No.
What the fuck is the reason?
Thank goodness you didn't
I'm
say that it
very
actually was.
worried
Otherwise this would be a very short episode.
I would have canned it early doors. So, a bit of a prerequisite for those of you who are listening. Now is a good time to a couple of seconds once I've finished explaining is a good time to pause, open up a new window, and search for any Intamin LSM Blitz coaster. Have a look closely, specifically the old gen. The new ones like Taron and Tiger don't do it. Maverick and Sandy's Bucking Bronco, whatever the fuck it's called, are good examples. Have a look at the bogie in the nose car and the bogie at the end of the first car, and you will notice the bogie in the nose car is fucking minuscule.
So it's most prominent. I think there's an RCDB picture of Maverick. I think it's one of the first pictures on it. It is very noticeable on that one.
So yeah, just to clarify, we did extensive field-based research on this. We literally went to RCDB and looked at every single Intamin roller coaster from that generation, and went through every single one.
And previous, yes, we've looked at a lot of Intamin.
We've looked at basically every Intamin chain design since the year 2000 at this point.
Yes.
I've just had a quick gander. The RCDB page for Maverick's first image is a fucking excellent display of it.
Yeah, it's a really good photo.
And I hate it. I really do.
You won't hate it when we reveal the truth.
Well, get cracking then.
So, the first thing we did was assume that Blitz coasters, specifically the early generation Blitz coasters with the central mounted LSM, was the reason for the wheels. We figured it was something to do with the central mounted LSM devices and maybe something to do with clearance around them. So we started looking through basically every single coaster of that generation and that style.
Yes.
And we worked out that, yes, they basically all have the small bogie at the front, including the brand new Sandy's Blasting Bronco, which also has the central mounted LSMs. So that sort of got us thinking that maybe it's something to do with that track device setup. But then, we had a large spanner thrown in the works when we looked at we looked through Intamin 10 inversion roller coasters.
Oh, don't do it.
Now this is a kettle of fish on its own, because the revision B trains have normal sized bogies, perfectly normal, same as all the others. Yes.
I thought the Rev B ones were very similar trains to Sandy's, aren't they?
No, they are not.
That is why we're in this deep dive.
Yes. So, in an interesting discovery, Sandy's Blasting Bronco uses the exact same chassis as Maverick. The only difference is the seats and the restraints.
Okay.
It uses the same restraints as is it Redfire, the iSpeed clone in Turkey?
That makes sense.
Yes.
They are the same trains as Sandy's Blasting Bronco, which is they're essentially Maverick trains
Yes.
with lap bars instead of the over-the-shoulders.
All they have done is taken a normal Maverick Blitz train and replaced the restraints.
Okay, makes sense.
Yes. I should also add really quickly, this completely discounts the new generation of Intamin
Yes,
LSMs.
that's an entirely
So-
different kettle of fish.
So
altogether.
your Tigers and your Terrans
Yes,
and everything,
yes.
this doesn't apply to.
Terran, Tiger, Red Force, Steel Dolphin, China Hunt, all of those ones.
Terran
They're
2.
Yeah.
Yep. Soaring with Dragon, they are all those wheels and bogies are the same sizes.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, but the fucking chassis is offset, but that's an entirely different
Yes.
deep dive.
Oh, we love that though. We love an offset chassis.
So yeah, we were looking through the revision B10 inversions, and they were all normal. Then we came across the marvelous creation known as Monte Macaya.
Yes, the coaster that has bricks instead of a train.
For,
I
yeah,
remember
for
now.
those interested viewers, have a look at the RCDB page for that, and have a look at those trains, because they are quite frankly a work of art.
I'm gonna have to have a look now.
Yes. At this point, we thought, it must be because of the central mounted LSM.
Yeah, and it was just the
And-
Blitz chassis, that's why it's just those chassis types.
Yes. However, there were two spanners.
One of these spanners is an incredibly unexpected one.
Oh, the suspense is gonna kill me.
Tom, I have an exception to this rule that will throw your bogey stress theory completely out of a window.
All of the accelerators that use a hydraulic launch, bar one, have regular size
Okay.
wheels as well.
Out of all of these hydraulic launch coasters, which one would you think has the small bogey?
Out of every hydraulic launch Intamin has ever made.
Wait, so you're saying they all have the small bogey
No.
bar one?
No, only one of them has
It's
it.
King of Car, isn't it? No, or is it Formula Rossa?
No.
Is it Stealth?
Nope.
Top Thrill?
Nope.
Nope.
What the fuck is it?
It's Furious Baco.
Oh god, it does, doesn't it?
Yep.
Oh no.
So yeah, your theory about bogey stress has just been deeply
Straight out.
thrown out the window with that one.
Cock.
Which in turn led us to looking at every single hydraulic launch,
Yes. And we
and it was
found
great
out.
fun. But it's just Baco that's
And
got that as well.
It turns out,
Right.
we're not going to reveal it yet, but it turns out that Baco did provide a clear answer to what the actual reason is in the end.
What the
As did another ride.
As
but
did
again,
another ride.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
A very unexpected ride.
A very unexpected ride. So basically, right, where were we? We're on Monte Macaya. So we looked at that, and
Yeah.
did that have small bogies?
Monte Macaya has a tiny bogey at the
Yes,
front.
that's right.
And for those
Serious.
unaware, Monte Macaya is
Oh,
the
it does.
original 8 inversion roller coaster that Colossus was based off.
Yes.
So we went from, in fact, we went from Rev B, which is Flamingos's Altair.
meat processing plant too?
Yes.
Yep, those ones. They all have regular size wheels, and they seem fine. So we thought, okay, it must be the generation beforehand. Let's have a look at the original 10 inversions, so Colossus and whatever the one in China is. They have normal size wheels. Then we looked back a little further. We saw Monte Macaya and stopped in our tracks because the front bogey of Monte Macaya has the mini bogies.
It's a diddy little, but it's only the road wheel.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, everything else is the
All
same.
of the other ones are exactly
Yes.
the
So
same.
Which is also a clue.
yes. So the other.
This is still just screaming bogey stress to me. Like it can't be anything else.
Oh no.
Oh, it can.
It's so weird.
So anyway, seeing Monte Macaya got us thinking, what about California Screaming and that whole generation of trains? California Screaming is normal.
And then we realised that actually they're a different type of train.
Yeah, they're completely different trains.
Are
turns
they?
out. Yep.
Yes.
What, the Monte
It's-
Miaka and Macaya or whatever and California Screaming?
Yep.
Different trains.
Different trains entirely.
The
Because
shit.
we're getting into the juicy bits now.
Oh yeah,
Right.
this is getting
we
spicy.
looked at every single Intamin custom multi looper on RCDB. So including things like what are the Disneyland ones, Indiana Jones and the other one. We can discount those completely. They're just Pinfaris. They've all got tiny bogies, really.
Yep.
But then we saw Cop Car Chase.
Cop car chase. Oh my
That's
god.
the old movie park thing, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. We looked at those.
Right.
They have the mini bogies.
What the?
And then we looked at Supersonic Odyssey, which does not.
What?
Oh yes.
That's where Supersonic Odyssey's trains are nigh on identical to Monty Makaya, except the...
No.
In fact, yes, they are. But we watched a POV. We were marveling at how cool the layout actually is, and the fact that the second half was definitely the planned bit, and the first bit was shit. We need to get up there because that's where our lift hill goes, and we need to get down there because that's where the loop is. We realised upon watching POVs and off rides that the front car has regular sized bogies, but has cutouts for them in the car shell.
Is he getting it?
I think he might be getting it.
I might have figured this one out. They haven't got the clearance in those chassis or shells, have they, to have the big wheels? They'd foul themselves. So they've had to put diddy little wheels on instead.
Yep, that's it. So once we made this revelation, once we spotted this tiny little detail that no one would really care about unless you're on this deep dive, we then we looked back at all the previous ones we've found. We looked at Monte Macaio. We looked at, most importantly, Cop Car Chase.
Yeah.
As it goes through those barrel rolls that it used to have.
Quite tight.
They are really tight, and it gets so very close to the car shell.
Yeah.
And then
not just the car shell, the chassis.
Yes.
Shit.
And then the more we looked into it, the more sense it made, because the the Supersonic Odyssey trains have the same shell, or at least very similar. But it's still, a single car.
Yeah.
There was very little articulation in the car, whereas you look at Colossus, the Zero car is separate to the bit that the seats are on.
So
that has rotation.
In the same way, now that new gen Intamins have offset for this rotation by making the Zero cars fucking enormous, because they're still locked to the front car, no articulation. The old ones that had no articulation, they just shrunk down the road wheels on the front car. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Exactly that, because the side wheels and the upstops are exactly the same as the rest of the train.
Yeah.
But the road wheels are completely different size to everything else.
They're side wheels.
No, they're not.
Are they not even side wheels?
They're a different size to everything else.
Holy shit, they are. They're tiny little fuckers.
Yeah. So that brings us back to the exception being Baco. Oh, and side note as well, Fahrenheit has the same tiny bogies.
Fahrenheit
Makes sense for that snap on the...
Fahrenheit, actually, what I realised is the exact same as a Blitz chassis, but it's been retrofitted for a chain lift.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's all it is. It is just a Blitz with a lift
I can't imagine
mechanism.
they did much either. They just put a couple of flaps of metal on the arse for the pusher dogs and called it a day.
That's exactly what they did.
I expect no less from Intamin. That is beautifully Bogie, isn't it? Oh shit, this is going to clip itself. Just make it smaller. That'd be alright.
Exactly. And we only realised this because of two little cutouts in the front of Supersonic Odyssey's trains, which you will notice if you go onto RCDB and have a little look at them.
Let's have a look.
As a side tangent here, I should note that we went back to have a look at Maverick and the original Blitz trains after this as well. And the reasoning behind the small bogies on those is the same, but for a different reason. It doesn't clip with the chassis of the Zero car, it clips with the car behind the Zero car.
That's impressive.
Because what happens is, if it was a full-sized bogie, they'd be longer, there'd be more spacing between the wheels, which means that back wheel would stick out behind the Zero car just enough to clip the underside of the first car when it goes through a high roll rate turn.
Shit.
Which brings us back to Baco, which seems to be some sort of an exception.
I was going to say, because there's nothing with a particularly massive roll rate on that, really.
Exactly.
When you think
so
about
instead of... this is the one that we don't actually know for sure. This one is pure guesswork. We're pretty confident with the previous theory.
I have a confident theory as to why.
Oh yeah, we have a confident theory, just like we do with the reason that we're doing this whole episode. It's not quite as confident as the rest of them.
Yeah.
Because what the fuck were Intamin smoking when they made Baco?
Quite a lot, I'd imagine.
Honestly, it would not surprise me if they just had some leftover parts and cobbled them together to make Baco.
Wouldn't be a shock, would it?
Now, if you look at Baco's train, the zero car is very low. So we think that the wheels on that are smaller simply so that they can retain the shape of a barrel on the zero car instead of having to have any cutouts on that one, because that won't clip
So
with
that's an aesthetic choice.
more of an aesthetic choice than anything else. Yes.
And also, I dare say they could get away, especially on Baco with the small bogies, because the seats are directly above the main wheel assemblies of the car, rather than towards the front of the car. So all the weight is on the main wheel assemblies as well.
Yeah.
There's literally just that little bit of steel and the fiberglass from the nose
Which, the more I think about, is another reason why I think Baco rides so horribly. But that's a different question entirely.
car. Needs more weight in the zero car.
Yes, I think that...
But equally, the further back you get, the worse it gets. Front row's the smoothest.
I think Baco's just shit. Like, from
Whoa!
a design... No.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
Let me rephrase. It's shit
Yeah.
from a design standpoint. Okay.
Thank you, dickhead.
The ride is
Jeez.
ridiculous and hilarious and great, but
Yeah.
from a
Oh, that
train
reminds
design
me.
standpoint,
From a
it's
design
wank.
perspective, it's a fucking tragedy. Yeah.
We haven't covered Portaventura yet.
We haven't,
in
have
an
we?
episode. We should do that at some
We
point.
haven't
Coming
actually all been
2021.
to Portaventura. Well,
Yeah.
we have, but on separate
we've all been.
occasions. We've
Yeah,
never
that's
been
fine. Then.
together.
That's enough.
Yeah, that's
We can generate some discussion about our different visits.
Yeah, exactly. I can talk about the fact that I had the Tory fast track the whole time, so I've never had to queue a minute there in my life.
Yeah. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked.
Yes, we are. So that was our deep dive.
Hopefully the first of many deep dives,
Yeah.
because we do this a lot. We have
Yeah, we do this very frequently. We have a few episodes lined up for this.
Late night crackhead
Yes, pretty
VCs.
much.
Like, you should see what we have on Gerstlauer spinning coasters and spinning coasters in general.
Gerslauers, Mauras, Reversions. The spinning coasters are
boy.
a whole episode on their own, because
of course
those
the-
mechanisms are
you-
fascinating.
You can't forget about the hallowed Intamin Oval. There's
Oh,
nothing quite
yes.
like
Oh,
the Intamin
yes.
Oval.
Yeah, so spinners are one. We mentioned briefly about potentially doing a wacky worm deep dive, because that's funny. the other day.
Genuinely a lot of information to be unravelled there
One
as well.
Yeah.
episode on a similar tangent to it, also on the subject of Intamin, is the amount of goddamn track types that Intamin have used over
Oh,
their
God,
lifespan as
yeah.
an manufacturer. We could make an entire 10-part series on that, because there's just so many.
Yeah.
The story arc of people like Golden Horse would be an incredible.
That would be
Deep dive
fascinating.
as well,
a
because
deep dive
that's-
just into knockoff SLCs in general would be
I
quite
think
good.
Into
you need to
knockoffs,
do
that's it.
two. You could do a deep dive into knockoffs and then a really deep dive into Golden Horse, because fucking Christ, they've been busy.
Oh my god. yeah.
Looking at you, 4-row dive coaster.
So yeah, if you want to see more episodes along this sort of tangent, please like and subscribe and get the bell on.
And
Oh, it's been a while.
do share this amongst friends.
Yes,
Probably not
because
family.
definitely
Don't
not
share this
family.
among family. They'll wonder what the fuck's wrong with you.
You will be living in a cardboard box if you show your family this video.
But hopefully this has been our single yearly useful contribution to society.
Yes.
So that when anyone brings up these ridiculously tiny little bogies on old generation Intamin Blitzes,
You know, that topic of conversation that comes up very
You know,
frequently.
that
A
is
regular.
my go-to at a party, is to start talking about the small wheels on the front of old
Yeah,
Intamin
it's
rides.
a real showstopper, let me tell you.
I can't even begin to tell you the number of women I've bedded with
If
that
you
pickup
haven't
line.
been laid in a while,
Jesus.
just walk into a house party and start talking about Intamin bogies, and those panties will drop.
It's
Indeed.
incredible what you can do.
so next time you're riding Maverick, Fahrenheit, Cheetah Hunt, I think Ice Speed as well, that's one of them.
Yeah.
Any of those older rides, LSM launches, not hydraulic, LSM launches between, what is it, maybe 2006
Yeah.
and 2000.
Or if you somehow happen to have bought Monte Micaiah and are building it in your garden.
Yes.
Give us a shout if it's
Yeah,
that
actually,
last
just call
one.
us
I'd
if
like-
you're doing that.
I'd like to have a look at that.
It's in a state. It is in.
It's not pretty.
Congratulations, you've just bought a few shipping containers worth of rust.
Yes.
There's no ride there anymore.
But yeah, next time you're riding an old generation Intamin Blitz, take a look at that front wheel bogie and think of us. Remember the wisdom that we have imparted unto you, And enjoy the rest of your day. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Maybe for a deep dive, maybe for a park episode. Who knows what we're going to come up with. Tom, how do you feel now knowing this information that you didn't know you needed?
Absolutely fantastic. There, is that what you're after?
That'll do, yeah. Right. Should we end it there?
Yeah, that'll
Yeah,
do.
right.
Jesus Christ.
Right. In a bit.
Bye.
Bye.